gave us on earth, God, when he created the world, he gave us the minerals and things that we need. He gave us our bodies, and then he gave us the tools and the things to take care of them and to keep us healthy. And people forgot about that. They forgot about that minerals were for healing, because down through the generations, it's just the messages got lost. And I'm finding out more and more, and I'm really enjoying it. I'll tell you, I'm learning a lot. I found a book, and of course I opened it right to the middle of the book, because I have obsessive compulsive disorder and I have ADD. I've got a scattered mind, okay? But it's a good mind, and I'm getting smarter as I get older. So I am currently I'm healed from a disease, the disease of alcoholism. And I get help with that through a 12-step program where you learn to rely and have a dependence on a power greater than yourself. And you can name that power anything you want. You don't have to believe in anybody's God or anything. I'm trying to make sure. Live streaming. So on a daily basis, I get help from a God of my own understanding, and I am released from the disease of alcoholism. And even the medical community, medicine cannot cure alcoholism. Medicine can't stop an alcoholic from drinking. They don't have any kind of pill. There's no psychiatric therapy that works, that none is proven to work like this 12-step recovery program works. And as a member of that organization, I am not allowed to recognize myself or acknowledge myself as a member at the level of press, radio, and films. It's part of the anonymity aspect of the program, and that's an important thing. So I can't tell you what program it is, or I would be breaking the traditions, and I don't want to do that. The traditions are in place to protect the organization from anyone who might cast a shadow over it. But I can tell you that I can bear witness to the fact that I am recovering a day at a time since February 22nd of 1989, and this is currently September 29th of 2016. That's been quite a few 24 hours. It's September 27th. That's been quite a few days, and I do it a day at a time. So I read the book that is given us to read in this program, and I've been reading it for a long time, and I'm starting to read the Bible this much. Okay, I know this much about the Bible, and I'm not a preacher, teacher, nothing like that. My name is Nancy Gurish, by the way, and I'm interested in ways to stay healthy through natural means. And I'm looking for ways to avoid doing what I've seen the people who go before me do. And there's a lot of things that the people that go before me do outside of just getting sick and getting diseases and things. They do a lot of other things that I don't want to follow in their footsteps. So I'm trying to find answers that are real answers that they forgot, that they were not taught by their parents. And maybe their parents weren't taught by their parents, and through the generations we lose this information. And one of the parts of this information is the fact that God has meant for us to heal ourselves, and he's given us the authority even to ask for help directly. And he has expected us to do that. And I'm learning little bits and pieces, okay? And I'm not going to preach at you because I don't know how. I wouldn't try to, and I wouldn't know how to. This book is called by Kenneth E. Hagin, Hagin, and I think he's a popular author of Christian speaking, Christian belief. It's called The Believer's Authority. And I open right to the middle, and it says, and what it really says in here is that people have lost the knowledge that they are meant to pray for themselves. And he refers to us as baby Christians. And he's saying that people have, for years, have asked him to pray for them, for healing for them and for their family and for their child, as an example. One woman asked him, he might be a preacher of a kind in some church, like a reverend. So the woman asked him to pray for their child, and the man prayed for their child, and the child didn't need the surgery. The child was successfully healed. So either that woman or other people came up to him and said, why aren't people getting healed here? Or it was a woman who was raised in another church, and she's in this church, and she said, nobody here is being healed. I don't understand this. And he said, we don't understand that we are supposed to begin to pray for ourselves as adults, just like we begin when you grow up. You're supposed to buy your own clothing. You're supposed to get your own shelter, your own food. Well, we're children, and with regard to Christianity and with regard to spirituality and faith and knowledge in Christ, and that we don't understand that when we grow up, when we're babies and children, we can be prayed for by our adults, by the people in our family, the adults and the community. But after you grow up, you're supposed to begin to pray for your own healing, and the own healing within your own home. You have the authority within your home and your household to pray for work, for success, and for healing. Those are in our authority. And it talks about, once you start to read a little bit, I'm just starting to understand a little, but I don't understand well enough to speak about it too fluently to you. I'll give you some quotes here, though. If you'll just bear with me on this. It says that authority is, okay, I don't know where to begin here. It's a paragraph within the book. It's called Exercising Authority Over, where is this over? Standing for Baby Christians. People are always asking me why they don't get healed. Some think that there is something wrong with the preacher who prayed for them. I explained that when they were first saved, this is Christian saved things. I was baptized, I'm a Catholic, so I was baptized when I was a baby. When you were first saved, baby Christians and God permitted others to pray for them and carry them on their faith. But after a while, God expects that baby to grow, walk, and start doing things for himself. God puts the baby down and tells him to walk, but many won't. They want to be babies and have someone else pray for them all the time. We want to help those who can't help themselves, but we need to teach people so they can grow and use their own authority, because the time will come when they will have to use their own authority if they want their prayers answered. And part of my video today, the purpose is that God does answer prayers. As for healing, I've been seeing this. I've been recognizing this, that we are supposed to ask for healing for ourselves, because I've told other people, many other people, I do pray for everybody that comes by my YouTube channels. My main channel is of my name, Nancy Gurish. And then I have this Spiritual Walkway, I have Your Health and Tech Friend, and I have a behind the scenes video channel. And I always say I pray for everybody that comes to my YouTube channels, and I do. And I'm starting to understand more and more and more that I can't just pray for your healing. You have to pray for yourself. And I'm just starting to understand why. I never really understood why, and I'm starting to get it. It says, let's see, we want to help those who can't help themselves, but we need to teach people so they can grow up to use their own authority, because the time will come when they will have to use their own authority if they want their prayers answered. Once my wife and I stayed in a certain couple's home while attending a convention. The woman had been in our church before she had married. They asked us to pray for their baby boy, just a few months old, who had a rupture. The doctors wanted to operate on him. We cursed the rupture. This is Bible speaking, and it's foreign to me because I'm Catholic and but I believe this, and I believe Ernest Ainsley. I believe in that stuff. Cursing the problem, they were cursing the disease, the illness. We cursed the rupture and commanded it to wither and die. In a matter of a few days, it had disappeared completely, and the baby never had to have the operation. The baby's mother said, "Brother Hagen, I don't mean to be critical." Oh, it is Catholic. I think this actually is. That's why. Yeah, it might be. Okay, Brother Hagen, I don't mean to be critical, but in our church, it seems that we younger people are the only ones who have any faith for healing. I didn't know who to ask to pray for the baby before you came, because no one ever gets healed here. Now it comes away from this. It says, we ought to grow stronger in faith, and the older we get, but too often we don't. In her church, as in many, so many, most of the people were saved when they were younger, and God permitted others to pray for them. And because of a lack of right teaching, they remained in that babyhood stage of Christian development. They said, we used to get healed when we were first Christians, but now we don't. It would make just as much sense for you never to have any clothes of your own, always depending on wearing somebody else's clothes, as it would for you never to exercise your own faith or do your own praying, always depending on somebody else's prayers. Isn't that something? There's 2 more paragraphs. What happens to people who never attempt to exercise any faith of their own, but always rely on other people's faith? We just read that. Here's a quote. Your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walks about seeking power. I believe in the devil. There's people who don't. But the believer can do something about him. Jesus, James, and Peter tell us to do something about the devil. Paul says in Ephesians, neither give place to the devil. That's the statement. Neither give place to the devil. And I believe that is true, that we are not supposed to recognize him. Believe in him, yeah. Give him authority, no. This means you are not to give the devil any place in you. He cannot take any place unless you give him permission to do so. And you would have to have authority over him, or this wouldn't be true. And it goes on, but if you want to read this, it's called The Believer's Authority. And I believe that we have the power to do this. And as for, that's why I'm not certain, but I think that's why when I've prayed for others to be healed, sometimes I've asked for God to give them the direction and the knowledge of where to go and give them the strength and things like that. But when it comes for your own healing, I think we are each responsible for that. And the only way I know of healing is a day at a time thing, because that's the only way I've known. But I know I get healing that way, and I've tried it on other things besides my alcoholism, and I've gotten help. I got to tell you something. I'm getting older, you know, and as I get older, I'm getting wiser. And thank you, God, I am. It's because of prayer that I'm getting wiser. But I asked for your healing for a day at a time for an emotional thing. It was something that I was distressing over this thing a day after day after day. I was agonizing over this situation. And I tried giving that to God in the morning, just like I do my alcoholism. I tell him every morning, I'm an alcoholic. Help me not drink today, okay? And I tried it with this, and then at night I say, thank you. Okay, I do that on my knees because I was taught that way. You see, I was taught to do this. And nobody teaches us to ask for healing. And if no one teaches us, how do we know? That's what happens. No one teaches us that minerals will heal our body either, but it's true that they do. So if somebody teaches you something, then you know, and then you can begin to ask. So I'm telling you, and you have to have a relationship. The thing is that I understand, though, it's like Santa. God isn't Santa, you know. You can't just say, buy me a new car or give me this or give me that. And many people ask one time, they ask God, you know, don't let my parents divorce, or do this or do this. Please help this situation. Don't let this disease kill this person. And after that thing doesn't materialize, they say, oh, I never believed in God again. I gave up on God. He doesn't work for me. The thing is, it's a relationship, and that's something I understand. The beginnings of it can be on blind faith. Just ask whatever God is helping Nancy to stay sober, help you with your illness, disease, or situation, and slowly begin to start developing a relationship with God on that. And it's through the relationship. There's an analogy of this too. If you just call a friend once a year and say, hi, how you doing? And then you hang up the phone and you never develop a back and forth conversation with this person, they're really not going to recognize you. And God is the same situation. A relationship with God is what's important. Developing a relationship. And then you start to get the fruits of the relationship. And it's not like he's withholding it back saying, you got to believe in me otherwise. But this is just one piece of the whole thing. And I know there's a lot more to it. It's not like you can expect to pray for 6 or 8 weeks or a year and then get this or that, or maybe you can, and I don't know. But I know that just asking, just beginning to pray slowly, Start with one prayer. Learn a prayer. The Serenity Prayer is a good one. That's an easy one to know. And I'll say it once for you, okay? I've said this a lot in my time. It's God, grant me the authority. Grant me the authority. I love that. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay? And that's a good prayer. It's a simple prayer. There's also the Lord's Prayer. It's in the Bible. It says Jesus told us to pray, and he says these words. He told us, say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. And you see right in the prayer, it says, deliver us from evil, deliver us from the evil of disease, deliver us from the evil of poverty, deliver us from the evil of hunger, all those things are evils. And we ask God to help us out of that situation, and it works, and I know it works. And with that, I'm going to say peace, Buttercup. Check me out at my normal channel. This is my other normal channel, but I'm on my other channel. Check me out there. In a couple minutes, I'm going to be live talking about something else. Peace.